Now, the British Library has paid just over $14 million to acquire what it describes as the oldest European book to survive fully intact. The St Cuthbert Gospel from 7th century Britain is in such good condition because it was found inside a saint's tomb. The BBC's David Sillito has been to the British Library to inspect this latest edition.
Here in the British Library, carefully stored and wrapped, is a new book for the shelves. It is, though, very, very old.
This book, which was written at the end of the 7th century, is the earliest intact European book.
St Cuthbert's Bible dates from 698. It survived because it was stored in the saint's coffin on Lindisfarne, off Northumberland. But look closely at those words. How clear they are.
It is, yeah. This is a manuscript, a handwritten book, and the words on the page are almost as clear as the day that the scribe wrote them.
In the 7th century, this would have been very precious.
Yeah, and was apparently made to be placed in St Cuthbert's coffin on the occasion of his elevation to sainthood. So St Cuthbert, one of the foremost Christian leaders in the 7th century.
So it really wasn't written to be read then? It was written to be placed in a coffin?
Apparently, yeah, apparently.
The £9 million to pay for it has come from the National Heritage Memorial Fund, trusts, foundations, the general public.
We don't know what an item like this would have actually gone for on the open market, but based on we feel that we've negotiated a very good price.
That's the beginning of St John's Gospel.
This sale by the Society of Jesus will now go on public display. A chance to see a literary survivor from Britain's dark ages. David Sillito, BBC News.
Well, this is a story that's fascinated us. In that piece was Dr. Claire Bray from the British Library, and she's with us now, lead curator of medieval and earlier manuscripts. How does this rate in terms of things you've seen in your career?
This is absolutely one of the most exciting manuscripts, really, that we have. It's a book of unparalleled significance because, you know, it's the earliest intact European book and has this amazing connection with St Cuthbert as well.
And how did it actually come to light? It was inside the saint's tomb, is that right?
That's right. It seems to have been made to be placed in his coffin for the occasion when he was elevated to sainthood in 698, and that happened on Lindisfarne on Holy Island off the northeast coast of England. And it seems it was put in his coffin in 698, and then when the Vikings came and attacked Lindisfarne, the community of St Cuthbert left, travelled around northern England, southern Scotland, and eventually settled in Durham. And then with the building of the new Norman cathedral after the Norman conquest and creation of a new shrine for St Cuthbert, they opened his coffin in 1104 and
so
discovered the book
there. So they carried his coffin around
they did,
all of this time?
They did, with his body and the book. So.
And the book, yes. and is that because it looks, in looking at these pictures now, I mean, it looks in amazing condition.
It is absolutely incredible condition, and, you know, obviously we've just had the biggest fundraising campaign in the library's history, and, you know, when I've shown it to people during that campaign, it literally takes people's breath away because it is such an amazing book, and it has this lovely decorated red leather cover, which is in itself is an outstanding survival of Anglo-Saxon leatherwork.
But presumably it would never have survived that way if it hadn't been sealed in that way inside the coffin where no one could handle it for such a long time.
I think the fact that it was in the coffin for several hundred years definitely contributed to its survival, yeah.
Now, it was already on display, wasn't it? Why was it so important for you to purchase it?
So it had been on loan to the British Library since 1979, but now that we've had this fundraising campaign and been able to acquire it, really we've saved it for the nation, so now it's in public ownership, and we don't invest public funds in items that are on loan to us, but now that we own it, we can really preserve it for the long term and invest public money in its interpretation, and we want to improve public awareness and understanding of it, because for such a national treasure it really isn't that well known, and we're taking the first steps on that journey today by opening a display in the front hall at the library which explains the book's significance.
And presumably you're one of the people lucky enough to be able to actually handle it yourself.
Yeah, it's a real privilege. It really is a thrill because it gives you a really direct connection, I think, to that different Anglo-Saxon world 1,300 years ago.
Wow, so a great day in the life of a medieval manuscripts expert.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Dr. Claire Bray.